on.
Rock on, man.
Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. We have Clara with us. Clara Arroyave is the CEO of Coliving Cashflow. She's a startup mentor, and yeah, she's done a bunch of things. Basically, she's building the Zillow of co-living. She has an MBA in real estate investment platform. She loves Metallica. We're talking about touring the world to go see her favorite band. And I googled the net worth of the Metallica members. It's pretty high. They're pretty successful. So hope I can go see them in a show. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. That is my podcasting business. If you want to start a podcast, go to podfire.com. Clara, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Hey, Charles, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. What I am up to today. So I am originally, from Colombia. I've been in the US for about 12 years now. I moved here for business school. And during all that time, my focus has been twofold. A, entrepreneurship, and B, how to use technology to solve real estate problems in different areas. But my focus during the use of technology for that is co-living and how co-living solves the investor problem and the affordability problem in dense areas, but also for workforce housing community. So it is a tool and it's an asset class that can be used not only for in luxury segment, in houses with in towns and cities with high density like Boston and New York, but also in towns and zip codes where the minimum wage does not qualify for requirement for someone to make to live in an apartment. It happens in 4 to 40 million people in the US. So that also co-living becomes also a tool for investors to provide affordable housing to that segment of the population. So I'm passionate about the subject. I teach investors how to do it. I teach real estate agents how to become very unique. I hired a lot of real estate agents across the world. And I partner and I work with different investors to raise them and expose them to the asset class.
Right. And how did you start it in the startup world? Because I see Trotter here, so go trotter.com. I see Place
You do
Me.
your research, man. I love it.
Yes, of course. So how did you get started into that? Why did you go in the startup world straight up and not stay hired at a normal job?
I think there's two reasons. The first reason is when I see a problem, I try to solve it, and I don't wait for permission for someone to solve it and just go and do it. So I'm very driven by passion. If I'm interested in the problem, I just go and solve it. So I don't go like that way. And before moving to the US, I also used to be an entrepreneur. I had 3 companies before in moving here. I was PR and music management, back in Latin America, and business development for DJs, as you say, and outdoors, business development and brand positioning. And so when I moved to do my MBA here, I noticed 2 things. A lot of skills that you use to brand position yourself as musician, artist, or PR can be transferred for technology. And when I understood that problem that is correlated with technology and real estate, okay, we have a interesting niche here. And also, I think I try better in small things and being fulfilling my role as a leader. I like to be a leader more than an employee, I guess. So I shine more, and my passions are more aligned with being a leader than being an employee, if that makes sense.
Right. And real estate, it seems that it caught your attention early. Tell me about the co-living model and precisely how do you monetize co-living cash flow?
Sure. So 2 things. A, I'm saying 2 things too much. I understood I understood the real estate problem here in Boston, where I'm an early user of things. Like, remember when Uber was beginning and Lyft was beginning? People, okay, let's give it a try. Airbnb was beginning, back 10 years ago. And I used to lease, give it a try. I was in the middle of Cambridge, living in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Between MIT and a train station, I leased a space on my living room in the winter. Not even a whole living room, a space. I put a IKEA divider. I put 2 mattresses in there. I made $10,000 in a season just by leasing that. So understood pricing, understood demand, like everything that was necessary there. Like, okay, so we have something here interesting. So as being an early adopter, 2 years ago, no, 2016, 15, 16, a student from my from my business class came to me and I say, hey, what if instead of people just leasing regular apartments, paying first, last security deposit, last broker fee, which is for X months, how about we lease an apartment, 3, 4, 5 bedroom apartment, fully furnished, and then sublease by the room, all utilities included, to our friends or our clients that are here for certain periods of time that is not short term, like the semester, 9 months. So when you pay for a premium for that convenience, you double what the actual rental price of the place would be, but people prefer to pay a premium rather than lay out the key, $10,000 for the key of an empty apartment. So when you divide a place and subdivide and provide a service that actually the clients are looking, either workforce housing or students or anywhere, the demand rise really quickly, really quickly in this segment, in different segments of the population, and we understood the gap in the real estate space. So how do I monetize in Coliving Cashflow? I work with investors that cannot see any deal to work in regular multifamily, and I teach them how to do co-living, where they get where they cap rates from 8% and 50% cash on cash. Oh wow, this actually, even with the current interest rates, this model makes sense. So I have many investors coming to me, teach me, show me, find me a property, and that's what we do here in the company to work with them. And I have free webinars, free also YouTube classes for everybody, and teaching how to make the numbers work, how to work with us, and how to provide service to our clients.
Right. And how much you charge for that? Is it a monthly fee? And do you also take equity in their deals?
I've been offered equity in a couple of deals with Yale, but they're still small, so that's a way I'm seeing. I usually do either real estate referral fee, real estate broker fee, or just pure consulting hours. I have packages that start at $2,000 for a month of my time, and that we use, in an hourly basis.
Right. And what are your other investments where you put in money or put in your time nowadays?
I'm putting money and time in building a private equity fund to go and do more workforce housing and co-living in the Midwest. The demand and the lack of housing for the lower class is insane. So there is a platform that is I'm partnered with to increase the inventory in that area, because the numbers are really, really good. Investors are looking for where to put their money in a way that makes sense for them, that makes returns that are beyond even the local market. So I'm dividing between the brokerage, the platform, and the private equity fund.
You've probably studied the phenomenon of bubbles and real estate prices in various cities. A close family member of mine was asking like how that happens. I couldn't provide him a great answer. Like, how do real estate prices skyrocket like that? Is it just like realtors constantly jacking the prices and people wanting to get paid more for their houses, people being greedy? How do you explain the phenomenon of real estate bubbles?
You can have many theories about it, but basically is demand and supply. So for the last 5 years, the demand has increased, but the supply has not increased at the same time. Why? Because COVID, loans, construction loans have been really high. Material prices are very high, like iron and steel are really, really high. And then that combined with interest rates and certain local regulations in certain areas has made really, really difficult for new inventory to rise, with a couple of exceptions. So when you don't have, with the demand continues, but there is no demand, there is no amount of supply, the price goes up. And that's basically what it is.
And just like Elon came in with electric cars and revolutionized gas cars, and like he really made that revolution happen, do you think that someone out there will start a startup which will build a $1,000 house for people and will start a revolution in which real estate becomes affordable?
Even if you have $1,000 house, and I think $50,000 houses are made out of container units now, the land still will be pricey, and the permits and the old school, supply and permits and city and land prices will not be there. So to me, revolution is 3D printing. I am a super advocate and use how to use 3D printing to lower the price of housing, and 3D printing in a massive scale. That to me, well-used concrete in really, 100 houses, 200 houses, 300 houses, compounds in accelerated 3D printing, it is more interesting than like a $1,000 house.
Right. And then I was like, okay, why do people merge to city then for expensive lands? Well, that's because people still work physically and there's more opportunities, quote unquote, and not everyone has my privilege to work from a distance, right? Because me, it's like, hey, why don't I print myself a 3D printed house near a cliff in Chile with an amazing views and have my Starlink, but people still congregate in cities, and immigrants, I guess, like really rush to cities for work still, right?
Yeah, not only immigrants, students and professionals, UR workers are providing essential services to minimum services. The bank branch still needs to be there. So people go where work is, and you really don't have control over it. So it's about like where you go. And in Massachusetts, particularly, it's a good example. While a lot of people has left because of the cost of housing is really high, the past year alone, 200,000 immigrants moved here to replace the people that leave. So it's a constant, in the US, it's a constant movement where the construction has not been there to supply the demand. So hence prices go out. Hence, when you divide a multifamily and use co-living, life makes more sense that way. I do believe there are many other ways to make real estate more affordable, including solar electricity, solar panels, using technology for a property manager, and especially in this time of the year with winter and heating costs. I think there are many solutions that will come in the future.
Do you feel one person of my age can still get rich through real estate rather than investing in SaaS, for example, which seems so much more simpler than managing a physical unit?
You don't get rich managing one unit. You are rich when you manage 50 units, right? So you can invest instead of just one. You can invest in multifamily apartments and receive returns, or invest with a couple of friends. What I seen is a lot of less maintain a group of people, and let's invest in a larger property together and receive returns together. So there are also many ways to hack it, and yes, still real estate for many people is the way to go, and receive wealth.
Sure, but my question is more, if I have 100K, I'll just invest it in my own software businesses that are mostly automated and spit cash on demand, vs risking it in a physical unit and having to go there, like walk there, and the laws and all the complications, right? Is it still a wise choice to invest in real estate rather than online businesses?
I'm adamant to yes, because you're not solving any problem by investing. You're thinking about yourself, but also it's about how you are interested with your taxes. Why $100,000 can get you a $500,000 property that the SaaS won't get you? $100,000 is the base for the $500,000. So you are letting other people make you the $500,000, and you don't want to do it. Just hire a property manager, put it in your numbers that take care of the property. I have clients that say, "Give me a property that makes me this money. I don't want to deal with it. Just send me the cash." I do that for my clients, no problem. So it's about what you want and how to achieve the things that you need.
Right. So it's more easy. It's sort of aiming for low risk and low time cost on my end if I invest in your co-living platform. What kind of returns could I expect?
We're talking about 12 to 15% year over year with quarterly dividends when the fund is ready. We are going to start with just MVP of 100 rooms, 10 houses, but we want to be in the 1,500 rooms, 15,000 rooms in the next 5 years. So we hope to be in the $500, $700 million fund by the time we exit to institutional.
So I could expect a full return in 7 years, and then it's pure cash flow.
Oh, most likely even earlier than that.
Okay. And does that scale? Like, can I reinvest in the fund and get more and more and more? What do you foresee for the fund? Like, what number, what figure do you want to reach in 10 years from now?
10 years from now, the fund will be over $1 billion fund, but most likely the fund will be acquired by institutional. We already have 2 institutions, waiting for us to make our moves, for us to have the density that we want, for them to take over. So it's going to be like a business ready to hand off to a very to a very large institution at the end, and then you just receive the returns based on your shares. At the beginning, it's all about scale. We know we have technology that allows to understand where the demand is for our houses. We know the method really well in how to acquire and use money to duplicate and replicate the inventory, and where to understand our clients and use technology to grow. So, and after that, it's just pure cash flow for our clients.
Right. And what's your philosophy on wealth? So you and I were talking about Metallica concert tickets, right? So
Yes.
where do you want to invest that cash? What do you foresee for you and your life and your family?
My philosophy for wealth is do good. Like, do well with your money, like invest and be happy about what you do. So to me, it's travel, like more like a RV travel and follow Metallica or live shows or other festivals as long as I go. My husband is a sailor, so we have a sailboat, so we'll be sailing the Caribbean in the winter months, and the rest of the time, RV life.
What goals do you have for yourself in 2025? How will it be different from your 2024?
Oh, excellent. I love that question. Goal number one, we think we're going to achieve around $50 million in transactions for this year, just in the Coliving Cashflow. The fund will be officially launched, and we will hopefully close the fund at the end of 2025 with around 1,000 rooms in the private equity fund. So $50 million transactions, 1,000 rooms in the private equity fund. And I hope to see Metallica around 14 times. So I reached my 50 number. The year of the five.
And what about real estate tech? You've been into that. Are you still into this? Are you investing in real estate tech startups?
No, I advise, and I'm in a couple of boards for real estate startups, but as mentor, as a former entrepreneur, or as a former CEO of a tech startup, I advise them, but I'm not investing in them at the moment. I'm focusing on getting the fund ready to go.
Right. And what advice do you usually give to these startups?
So usually what happens with real estate and real estate tech is about how to use the money and how do you monetize in the future. Meaning, do you use the money to grow very quickly, or you use the money and while the real estate operation is still a brick and mortar operation, or it happens a lot that a lot of companies just burn through user acquisition and they don't know how much is to capture the customer, and they blow the money on ads, and then they don't have really like a go-to-market product. So identifying go-to-market product is really important, and the right balance between profitability and customer needs is also very important.
Right. Yeah. GTM is always a challenge in startups. What about the product side of things? What real estate tech startups precisely are you investing in, and how can they improve their actual product and user experience?
As I said before, I'm not investing in real estate tech startups because I'm in different boards, and I become an advisor, but not an investor, for a different reason, also for kind of compliance kind of thing. I really like the ones that are making innovation easier and making the way to invest for young people differently. That is one is called a buy between friends. It is buy property, pull four or five people and start buying and acquiring investment properties with your friends, and they have all the technology behind to allow that process. I think that's really interesting, and it's gonna really take over in 2025 for sure. So everything that is shared technology, shared resources to empower people, that's gonna keep growing fantastically.
And last but not least, tell me about entrepreneurship in Latinos in the US, Latinos immigrants. What do you see in current trends, and how could we help these communities run their own business successfully in the US?
That's a great question. I think there is a lot of education still to be going, and I think the mentorship model, the mentorship model, and understanding what investors are seeking before seeking investors is the more important part, because it's something that happened to us Latino immigrants. That we're already driven. We already know how to solve the problems, but we don't know very well what is that. When we go to seek investments, we don't know what the investment is really looking for, or the investor is really and having really bad deals with different investors that take more equity than they need at the time. So that happens quite often. So a lot of educations for Hispanic entrepreneurs in how to really negotiate with investors, if you need to negotiate with investors, and understanding that sometimes venture capital is a moonshot, right? That's something that would you really be interested on, and you can have a 10, 20, $50 million business really well without needing, and they can provide a fantastic life for you without need venture capital.
Yeah, I love that. I'm also in the philosophy of bootstrapping, and then once you have something product market fit, then go see capital to add gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
Clara, thank you for showing up today. Where can people find out more about you?
Oh, easy. My website is colivingcashflow.com. So go there, find it about, and then have a contact. And right there, I offer every Tuesday a free webinar on co-living when people can come and ask any questions or they have a deal they want to go over. I'm here for them.